Okay, we're live. All right.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hey everyone. So we're doing, a day of small business founder episodes. We are excited to have Vana Chupp on today, or now, and then we'll be doing two more after this, kind of every 45 minutes, I think, for the next few hours. So as you're joining us, say hello in the chat. Let us know you're here, where you're from. You can definitely respond during and leave comments while we're podcasting because we love to see like if something's exciting to you, just responses. And then if you're watching in the future and you're watching a replay, still do the same thing. So if it's replay, drop it into the comments and say watching replay. If Vana shares something amazing or some sort of light bulb goes off, let us know. We want this to be sort of an interactive experience. Hey Janine. So while we may not be shouting you out or answering questions in particular, but if you do have a question, you could write it in there and we might be able to use it as well as we're going through the interview. So we're excited for this one. So you ready, Vana?
Yeah.
All right. All right, we're going to start. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Small Biz Founders episode. Today, we are honored and delighted to have someone really special to us. We have Vana Chupp. She is the founder and CEO of Vana Chupp Studio, and she's also currently in our Product Boss Mastermind. And we're just so delighted and excited to bring her story to you today. Hey, Vana.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So let our listeners know what Vana Chupp Studio is, what you sell, a little bit more about your business.
Yeah, so Vana Chupp Studio is a lifestyle boutique brand, and we customize in heirloom jewelry that is made from customers' photographs and special moments. We turn those pictures into silhouette jewelry that is destined to, be passed down, treasured for years to come. We are located in Richmond, Virginia, and we're a team of 6, soon to be 7. We sell everything on our e-commerce online. We have a studio here in town that we can accept locals by appointment only. And then as of the last couple of months, we're also, a small collection of our pieces is on Pottery Barn Kids and Maisonette.
I mean,
I love that. I mean, such a good intro, by the way.
Did you rehearse? No.
I was proud of her for saying, Pottery Barn and Maisonette, because that's something we've been pushing you to do more so, is really show where you are in the world and everything. And good job.
I think I added that for this episode because I literally did not have it. I'm like, I should mention that. They would love that.
Absolutely, because it's huge, right? I mean, we love when product bosses, whether or not you work with us in any of our programs or our courses, or you're just out there in the world doing, your job and making an impact on the world in your product-based businesses. But we also love when you have these amazing connections, partnerships. So we have a mastermind right now that's in the process of talking to Target. You're in Pottery Barn Kids and Maisonette, which I'm a huge fan of. And so it's just really exciting to see the growth of businesses and the collaborations and partnerships that come from it. So congratulations again on that.
Thank you.
All right. So let's go to the very beginning. So you're known for your jewelry and your necklaces and custom jewelry and all the things, but sort of how did you end up here?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the very beginning started in 2008. I had opened a small Etsy shop, kind of on a whim. I'm an architect by trade, so graduated from architecture school. We had our first son, Nicholas, and when he was about 3, I kind of found myself at a spot in life where I wanted to do something creative with my time. Wanted to take a break from architecture, and so I started an Etsy shop. At the time, I was just all I could do was stationery and portraits. And the story of silhouettes came when he was a baby. I would document his ever-changing features. Like every month, I would create his silhouette. So I would just take a picture of his profile and just kind of sketch, not even fill in the black, So it was just kind of like a sketch drawing of his profile. And it wasn't until 2008 when I started an Etsy shop that a friend of mine told me those are actually silhouettes and you should consider selling custom, silhouettes for customers. So that's what we did. Started on Etsy with stationery and fine art prints as, custom silhouettes. And in 2009, which that was our big break, we were featured on the Cool Mom Picks holiday gift guide. And at the time, I mean, it was just me working on my little Etsy shop while I was raising our 3-year-old. And we got, our business just kind of blew up in like the month of November and December of 2009. If I could put a price tag, it was like $30,000 that we made, and that's probably I would have made in like 2 years when I started out. So quickly I found out that, or that was like the light bulb moment. I told my husband that I probably should quit my architecture job. I was actually working part-time, drafting in architecture from home. And I said I should quit this job and just really focus on doing the business. It gives me more flexibility. And so that's what I did. And so at the time, we were just doing stationery and paper. We used to be known as Le Papier Studio, which means paper in French. And it wasn't until 2014, that we started making the transition into heirloom jewelry and accessories. And we still do those silhouette portraits that we started out with, but now we're known for our heirloom quality jewelry and accessories.
Can we talk a little bit more about how, which by the way, I love that story. I knew you were an architect, and I love that you transitioned to fill that creative gap. When you first started, what made you pick Le Papier, and what made you change to Vana Chupp?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I took French in school, as you might pick up a little accent. I actually came in the States as a college student and took French for about 10 years, when elementary, middle school through high school and college. And so French was, silhouettes are French. They were born in France. Etienne de Silhouette was, the dude that invented them. So I found, I don't know, at the time, I didn't really brainstorm much, but I found Le Papier Studio as something that was like personal to me. I spoke French, silhouettes were French. So it's just something that I came up with at the time. Le Papier Studio was our name up until 2021, last year in March, where we rebranded, and it had served us well. But it's really hard to say. You'd be surprised, like all the different iterations that we've heard from people, and also did not serve us anymore. We were not a paper business. We had moved into accessory and jewelry, and so we wanted to kind of open wide the doors for what the future has for us. And didn't think that I was going to put my name as our new brand name, but I was pushed by our team and the branding company that I work with. And I think at the time I didn't want to, but I'm glad we did, because this business, I mean, I am still kind of like the essence of it, the core, the soul of it. And I don't think I would have run a business that I didn't feel that passionate about. So it kind of made sense for us.
I love that. Having a namesake, everybody probably gives a little bit of pushback, so
Yeah.
but it's
I'm
great,
like, oh boy, if I really mess up, my name is in the line. But I hope I don't.
No, you're doing amazing. I mean, you've had this business for so long. So tell us then a little bit about the growth of your team. So you started probably like so many of our listeners out there, where they were doing something else. They had a creative moment or something that they thought, okay, the easiest path forward to get me customers and to sell what I make is on Etsy, for example. And then
Yeah.
what was your journey to sort of your first hire, and who have you hired on now? What does your team look like?
Yeah. So our first hire was in 2009. It was my well, I had two hires. One was part-time, doing it at night. She was getting her PhD at the University of Chicago, and she was my first cousin. So she'd come and watch our son, and I would print, and she would help me watch him and package. But then the real employee, I hired a gal who was kind of the studio assistant, and she was just helping me with all things. Like, she was packaging, shipping for us, working with our the few wholesale accounts that we had. And it wasn't until 2015, when we moved from Chicago to Richmond, where I, decided to hire somebody more in the route of the full time. So I hired a jeweler. My first full time employee was a jeweler. And at that time, I was doing everything by hand. I was a maker. We had gotten to the point that I just could not sustain, our business with just me working, doing the social stuff, doing marketing, answering all the emails. And so the first was a jeweler. And then I brought along a year after that a customer service person, and then a second jeweler. And then into 2020, I brought along two silhouette artists, which pretty much have replaced me. I still have my hand in a lot of our products. I do our house illustrations and house ornaments, which those are still the products that I touch. But and then In 2021, we brought along another jeweler, and then now we just hired a studio assistant. We actually lost a jeweler; she quit early this year. But so we're a team of seven. Oh, and my husband, he's technically still works for us, but he also has a full-time job as an architect. So we're 7 people right now.
Wow. And so I guess my other question is, so people listening are like, wow, I'd love to hire. And I guess my next question is how did you grow from Etsy to them being able to have a business, direct to consumer business online, have retailers, and now have a namesake brand? Because I think a lot of people out there are like, okay, I sell on Etsy, I'm making sales, but it's really hard to make that transition and that jump to then have this beautiful business that you've built.
Yeah.
Any sort of tips to anyone that's out there that's in that same position?
Yeah, I mean, when I hear stories of people like that, we've been in business for 14 years. So we grew organically and really slow. I mean, it wasn't until like when I started with the mastermind, that's when we kind of like our sales like blew up. But we had a really slow growth, and it was how I chose it. From the beginning, this business was going to serve me and my family and our schedule. And so I was a mom first and a business owner second. And it kind of rode the wave of like, our family growing. I had our first son for 7 years before, we had another child. So, I was able to kind of invest my time in the business to grow it to the point that, I could take a little break when our second one came about in 2012. And then when I had more time because they were full time in school, then I was able to invest a little bit more. I didn't start this business with a business mind. It was more like, something that I wanted to do a creative on the side. And we kind of joke with the team because even though I'm not a maker now and making all the things, I still am very much like the creative person. And if it didn't serve me, I know it kind of sounds selfish, but if it didn't serve me creatively, then we probably wouldn't be having the business. But the way it grew was just word of mouth. Customers, our community, they have been amazing. They've come back time and time to add on to their pieces. Our pieces by nature kind of like lead themselves to like being added on to, you have another child, you add another silhouette charm. So there was not really a gimmick. Like, I hired the first, but I think pushing myself to hire somebody, even though I thought, well, maybe if I could work another 3 hours, in the 8-hour day, that was probably the pivoting point where our business started taking off and growing rapidly. So me kind of being committed that I want to grow these things, and then also hiring help.
I feel like I've said that before.
Maybe you did.
No. No, but it's not you. You're proof that this is what we kind of teach. So and Maria Desmonti is watching, and we also just did an interview with her, and she's in the mastermind with you. And she said slow growth, like I mentioned. I think so many times we want to speed things up, but people don't realize it's not an overnight success, but it's a 10 to 15 year success story, right? And then the other side of it is, like you said, like you hit capacity, and the only way to get it going and grow is to hire. So I love that you said that.
Yeah, I think that's the, as people progress in their journey, when you first started, we all start as that solopreneur that's trying to do everything. And it takes almost to the brink of burnout before people are like, fine, I'll hire somebody, And then they're like, oh, that's really nice. This feels good. I can hire somebody part-time or full-time. So I love that you started with, like with most of us, it's family usually and friends. You started with your first cousin who also helped you with a baby, which is, by the way, genius, and, able to help you through that really full season of your life. Like I remember having no brain power during that time. You're postpartum in a lot of ways, and you're just like, okay, can't really do a lot of stuff, but at the same time, you're feeling overwhelmed. So what made you move to Richmond, Virginia? And was that one of the catalysts for you hiring on people that you didn't know then?
At the time, we didn't know. We moved here because of my husband's job, and being an online business. And with that many employees, I could move. And actually, the one employee that I had, she had a baby, so she couldn't work anymore. So it worked out great. But I think the move was a huge help in the business, because at that point, I was even thinking of kind of closing the business and maybe join him and going back to architecture. And I really had to just really look deep and see what I wanted to do. And what I wanted to do was just do something that, I did it from home and around my kids' schedules. And I don't think I could have gotten that in any other, professional job outside of the home. And so I really honed in what I wanted this business to look like. I also took Marie Forleo's B School at that time, and that really just kind of shook me to my core. We purged a ton of products. I really, it was like the another pivoting point to where I wanted us to go. We stopped offering brass lockets. We started offering more gold and silver. So that was the point that, I'm like, if I'm going to do these, I'm going to need somebody who knows how to deal with gold and silver, not just me like trying to do like, I wasn't like doing crafty stuff anymore. This was like a legit business. And if I wanted to be around for another 5-10 years, I really needed to think of it as such. So yeah, just making that decision to like where I wanted to take it and the people that I wanted to hire was probably the best decision at the time.
Yeah, those pivotal moments, those kind of shakeups, those life shakeups where we don't necessarily know that that shakeup is what's going to cause us, that growth, but who you are on that other side of it, right? So these
Yeah.
little things, whether it's having children and what we have to do to reprioritize and blend our life and work, because a lot of us, and also you went to architecture school, not an easy feat, right?
Right.
Art school, all that. We don't sleep when you're, have projects and things. And so it's an interesting journey of the shakeups that then lead you where I'm sure you never thought, oh, I'm going to have a jewelry company like and silhouette business, right? It's the same way that I feel coming as a fashion designer. I'm like, I don't know how I'm a podcaster currently, but it's fantastic. So I want everyone to hear these stories and realize like when you're in it and you don't realize, but who are you going to become on that other side of whatever that life shakeup is?
Yeah, for sure. It's acknowledging it too, because like Vana was saying, Vana, you actually had to, you had your architect degree and then you started a craft business or a hobby essentially, right? A creative outlet. Then to have to acknowledge and say, I actually want to be a jeweler. I actually want to be a small business owner. I actually want to do this now, even though I have all these other things. I think that's really hard because, even one of the things when I became a mom, I didn't realize it was a whole different identity. Like
Yeah.
it just felt so different. Like I was like, can I go back to when I was like kidless life? No, now I cannot go back to that. And it feels really different. So I think that as sometimes when we start on Etsy and we're like, okay, I'm starting to sell things and I'm moving forward and our journey begins like that. Our journey doesn't necessarily lead that same way.
I completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even when you add, I mean, every person that you add to your team, it's like adding another baby or another family member, even though I've learned recently to not call them family because they're not. But I really am a people pleaser. I would never hire anybody that I don't like or don't click. And, there's disappointments, even in the team you build. Like you always have those good intentions, but, and you think you're a good person and then you're just, things come about and as you grow. And the one thing that I've learned is, to learn from the mistakes and to do the hard work and just to be vulnerable and say that I'm not perfect. And, but I don't know. Anyway.
No, it's true. I mean, and especially, you relate to visionary, right? That you're a
Yeah.
visionary, you're a creative, a true creative. And sometimes I think it's easy to doubt your place in business or what do I know about business or managing a team of 7 or, did I hire the wrong person? Did I do something wrong and I'm not the right type of boss? But we all have to realize that everybody we hire has their own lives and their own things and
Right.
their own priorities. So if they leave, they don't fit, right? They don't fit with our personalities or they have something else that's a priority. But it's always a learning lesson. And I think sometimes maybe as women, we're a little bit harder on ourselves. That's why Mina does now the hiring and the firing. she's
Because
she's
I'm
like,
not hard on myself.
no,
Yeah.
because she has a better idea about it that it's not personal, right? It's business and it's best for both
I think that,
parties.
I mean, I don't even think of it as like business. I think it's life. Like
Right.
they're just not a fit right now. There's plenty of people that would probably love to work with you, but it's not a fit, or they have a kid right now and it's a harder season, or, now they're taking care of their elderly parents or something, the aging parents. There's so many things that happen to other people's lives that they start to realize, especially with 2020, 2021, that their first priority isn't working for you as a small business owner. And I
Right.
know that sounds harsh to hear, but it's true. It's life. It's not business like transactional at all. It's that you're not a fit for our business right now, but it goes both ways. Like your business is not a good fit for them, and they're not a good fit for your business. It has to work, with anything being a win-win. And I think that sometimes it's a win-win for a period of time. It's like letting go of a boyfriend that was great boyfriend. He's so nice, whatever. But you're not a good fit right now. See you later. So
And I
um
held on to those for too long. So that's exactly why me and it is letting go.
no, I just think that, in any time, I've actually never been let go from a job. Um,
Mhm.
I just think that in life, though, people have come in and out of my life, and I thought they've been in my life for a reason and for a
Yep.
season and with a purpose. And just as much as they're there, their purpose is only in that time, and then I have to let them go, and then they serve their purpose somewhere else. And so if it's like a negative purpose, then obviously it's time to go.
Right.
Both parties, because they're not living their best life either then. But do you have you had to let people go? Have you had to fire them then?
I had not had to let people go. So the one person that just left, it was her, whatever, her on her terms, her desire, and it did shake us. It was totally by surprise, but it really kind of turned our business upside down in a good sense. Like these, I mean, as you know from me sharing in the mastermind, these last 4 months, we have, I mean, we I've always had to go back to our values, and we speak our values, what we are about, and that is not just for the front facing for the customers, but we had to really look within and just be, what is our company culture? Who do we want here? If this person is not happy, they should release that and just go and do whatever it makes them happy, because it just spills into everybody in the team. And a person who's disappointed, it's not going to do a good job. They're going to be miserable for everybody else. But no, I've not let go of anybody, thank God. I mean, there might be a time and place, but then we
Thank
were able
God,
to hire.
Jesus.
I just know I'm not that person, but I just don't have it in me. Like, it's just really hard for me to have that kind of conversation with people. I want everybody to be happy. I've kind of built these business around people, which it's not a way to build a business, but it's worked for us. I've always hired part time. They've grown into their roles and their positions, and it's been great. I love giving people second, third chances. As long as it's
Well,
not in the detriment of the
let's move it
business.
back a little
Yeah.
bit on that, before people start taking notes of build the business around your employees and,
No.
give them third
Okay,
chances.
so let
Okay.
me go back. Yeah, that was like before these happened. That's what I used to think.
Mhm.
When I stepped into the leadership visionary role, I also hired a business coach who was coaching me into that. Now that you're not the maker anymore, I felt alone. Like you mentioned before, how do you do this business thing, right? I know how to make jewelry, I know how to design everything, but how to market, I don't know how to lead the people. I don't know how to be their boss. I want to be their friend. And he did say that the wrong people are going to stick up like a sore thumb. And
Mhm.
I'm like, yeah, right. We have the greatest people. What are you talking about? Our team is awesome. And as we fine tune on our mission and our values, and we want to, where do we want to be in 5 years? Then that person who's not with us anymore, she just had to quit because it did not fit with her, life, whatever, her
Mhm.
values. She was, I mean, a great person, but it just did not sit well with her. And so it wasn't a pleasant breakup. We were heartbroken, but we feel like, because of that, I had to step back and say, wait a minute, like I can't, just let these kind of determine where my business goes, because it's not fair to others. And so now we have a strategy in place, like how we hire, how we let people go, like who comes and joins our team. It has to be somebody who works not well just by themselves, but, are part of the team and just builds everybody up. So
That's good. I mean, and that's only to be, I think anyone out there that's thinking it's scary to hire, I don't know if I'm going to be a great boss. Like when we all went home, well, not all of us, but you go home with a baby, You go home with a
Oh
puppy or
my
a
goodness.
dog. You go home with a
A
plant.
plant,
I
You
have
got
yeah.
to
no
keep
clue,
these things alive. It's like
right?
it's
You
the
go home with a
craziest thing.
car. I barely knew how to keep that car alive, let me tell you.
I still don't
We
know how
ran out
to
of
like
gas
press the buttons in my car.
multiple times.
Everyone get off the road for these two. But that's the thing, right? We learn on the go. I mean, I want everyone to think about a time in their life that they didn't necessarily know what they were doing, but they took on a responsibility and they figured it out. And so I think that's the same thing with the team, Mina and I included. And then we built, standard operating procedures. We built,
Yep.
systems around it and operations around it. And then eventually you start to hire people that are better at all of it than you. And then
Mhm.
they take
Exactly.
it, and then, you get to do the things that you truly want to do and fill you up and fill up your cup.
Yeah, that's how
Yeah.
I feel right now. I think our team is solid and everybody loves what they're doing. They're not there to please me. They're there because they believe in what we're about. And it's a good feeling to just be part of that.
So incredible. So
Yeah.
I have a question about, I actually want to know from you what your favorite piece or pieces are in your collection.
Oh my gosh, it's like picking a favorite child. I
Sorry.
don't know. Well,
Which
here I
you can do for certain
have
things.
on a certain day. Well, I'm wearing one. This is my boy silhouette. These are large silhouette charms. And I'm wearing mine on our paperweight, um, paper clip chain. But another favorite of mine is our lockets, our
Mhm.
silhouette lockets. And these are kind of like our legacy pieces, our heirloom. I mean, all our jewelry is heirloom, but these to me are, something that maybe when they're 30, I'll still wear these. They don't have to look at their faces, but they're inside, these lockets. Um, I would say like our silhouette charms are, there's a reason they're our best sellers. They were our first product that I put out. And to this day, we just sell them like hotcakes.
Yeah, they're amazing. And like you said, you have silver and gold filled of your different products. So I think there's a
So we
different
don't
price
have
point.
gold fill.
Not
Gold
gold
fill we
filled.
don't have. Yeah, we stopped carrying gold fill a couple of years ago. But
Okay.
silver
So
and
silver and gold.
14 karat gold. Yep.
And different price points and the just beautiful gifts and stuff. So thinking about gifts that are coming up for people, it's a great place to go when you're looking for gifts. So what
And
are
for
you
all of you that actually don't have kids, you could do a dog,
Pets.
which
pets?
like pets, the profile of pets. And if you're a
Yep.
plant mom like crazy, you could obviously do like
Do you do
a little
cactuses?
leaf.
We do anything. I mean,
You
we've
can't keep
done
a cactus alive.
we've done snakes,
Cactuses should be the
horses.
easiest to
Yeah.
keep alive.
We also recently because not everybody wants to wear their children around, but
Mhm.
that's why we say we turn memories and special sayings. So we also have like hand engraved pieces that we put them on hearts or medallions, stuff like that, and then also just initials.
I love that
And
because the
pendants.
hand engraved, you can also take handwriting, right? And engrave that
Yeah,
handwriting on the piece. So if you have a
right.
special love note from your spouse or your kid wrote something, you can get that engraved on the piece of jewelry.
Mhm. Or your
Yeah, and
grandparent or something.
the way we put that product out, it was actually a customer. She had ordered a silhouette charm and her little one passed, because of cancer. And she's like, the only thing that I have of her, like it's like a little handwriting of her name and a heart. And that's what she had engraved instead of her name, like with one of our fonts. And then that kind of became our starting point for offering these for others. So it's like a special message that you have from a loved one. It could be like a little bit of a recipe from grandma or whatever, just something that empowers you.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's
Wow, so
beautiful.
special. So what are you most excited about coming up in the near future?
Well, I'm excited about ever since I started the mastermind. I don't know if you guys remember, but I kind of went back and forth, and I my word of the year last year was stabilize. Just get our team because we had a tremendous growth in 2020, and then 2021 dipped a little bit, which was probably for a reason and it was great. But just to get our team on a solid ground, and 2022 has taught me that numbers don't matter as much as like people. If we can serve our community, just a small size community well, then we've done a good job. So just really go back to our community and serve them well. We do have some ideas for new products, which I'm really excited about. And yeah, just kind of continue doing what we do and do it better and do it better than before.
Love that.
Yeah, so good. I think that's the mentality that everybody should go into right now with, the economy changing and everything like that, is that you focus inward on your
Right.
community. So that is
Exactly.
perfect thinking right there.
So tell our listeners how they can buy from you, support you, follow you, all the things.
So they can buy from us on our website at vanachuppstudio.com. They can connect with us on Instagram and Facebook at Vana Chupp Studio.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. This was an incredible interview, and I hope it was helpful to our listeners as well.
Thanks so
Thanks
much
so
for
much,
having
Vana.
me.